So I think, as most of you know, when you get older, it gets really difficult to meet up with your friends. And me and a couple of my, really old friends, the guys that I knew since high school, even kindergarten, we were all thinking for quite a while about a boys trip, because we don't really meet that often. And yeah, we decided that we want to go to the mountains, and the nearest option, and quite safe one, was Mount Rysy, the highest peak in Poland. We did not know at all what we were getting ourselves into. So basically, we all met up in Kaunas, and I think to Zakopane, the city that we booked our hostel in. I think it was like 9-hour drive. I think we left like 6 or 7 a.m. and we drove for quite a while. So basically, Zakopane, beautiful little city or town, I don't know how to call it, but none of us really were to the mountains. How difficult was Mount Rysy? So we started early. We started, I think, at the car park. We were at like, I'm gonna say 7-ish a.m. in the morning. So we had like a good start. We wanted to start early, so we wouldn't need to be in a hurry because, well, we decided that if we'll need to, go fast, we might, make mistakes or get hurt or something like that. So we decided that starting early and taking a slow and steady pace would be the safer option. What we did not realize is that the beginning and the end is gonna be just basically a walk. I think it was either 7 or 8K of just asphalt, just like basically walking uphill. It was like a serpentine, walking left and right, basically going up to the lake. I forgot the name of the lake. I think it was, I forgot the name of the lake. But basically, after walking those 8K, we got to the first lake, and this is where like the actual hike began. So we stopped for a bit, got a little snack, and then the hike began. So in the beginning, it was like really smooth and fun. Like we were just talking, having basically just enjoying our time. The weather wasn't great, but we were still, old school friends being together, being on a boys trip. Like what else could you ask for? So basically, we were walking. The path is basically just a stone path, really, really easy to walk on, really easy to hike on. You just need to watch your step where you're going. Other than that, it's easy. Afterwards, it got like basically stone staircase with quite steep and high steps, which quite quickly started to like, take a toll on us because, again, none of us really prepared for it. And yeah, basically, it took us a good hour, I think, to get from the lake to the Black Pond. And I think after we reached the Black Pond, as I remember, this is where things started to get really difficult because we were walking around like the Black Pond. And I remember, like, as you can see, I wear glasses, my vision isn't the greatest. And I remember looking over like the Black Pond and like seeing like a really, really steep incline and not really seeing people. And this is where I think a few of us got a tiny bit scared because, well, we didn't even really see a path. And like, we didn't really know how to get up there. What's great about Mount Rysy is that the path is so clearly cut. It has marks everywhere, so you can get lost, but it's quite difficult. You just follow the marks and you'll be fine. But basically, when we stop for a snack and a rest, at the Black Pond, we've seen like people putting on helmets, people, bringing out their like trekking poles, and us just, I was wearing not hiking shoes, I was wearing work boots because, was the cheaper option to use my work boots than buy hiking shoes. And yeah, like, just hoodies, shorts, and that's it. And we were like, okay, this is a tiny bit weird. Like, are we underprepared or what? So after walking around the Black Pond, this is where things got serious. It got really steep. Basically, again, the path, as usual, was like a serpentine, but it was quite a bit more steep, and there was not really, rock steps came to an end, basically. So we were walking, and honestly, it started to get difficult. Like, we had to take stops quite often, and what scared me, like, not scared me, but what was interesting to me is that there was such a big difference between people who were going to that mountain. There was basically people who were even less prepared than us. I've seen guys like going down, just wearing like sneakers, a hoodie, and just basically just carrying a bottle of water. And then there was guys with like full on like helmets, trekking poles. So we still didn't know if we were like underprepared, overprepared, or what. But basically we kept walking and walking and walking until we reached like a spot, which is like, I think, a common resting place, because at that place, I think there was like even a place for helicopters to land if somebody got in trouble. And after that place, this is where things got interesting, because one of the guys decided to go back down because his legs were hurting too much. And he started to go down, and then there was just only two of us left, and we started walking up the mountain again. But there was such a weird feeling, because this was my first time at the mountains, and I was looking at the clouds and I couldn't see the peak. And this was a really weird feeling. So we started to walk, and then there was, basically the chains began, because the incline got so steep and the rocks got slippery. So there are chains in the mountain itself that you hang on to that help you climb, which helps you tremendously. Without the chains, it would have been so much more difficult, but it helped a lot. So basically this was the hard part. And basically what makes it a tiny bit more difficult, which is not really a big issue, I think it's an issue depending on what time of year are you going, is the traffic, basically. So but this issue basically is everywhere, on every mountain. So you need to move out of the way to let somebody by, or somebody else needs to move out of their way to let you by. We climbed up, and I remember it was really difficult. We were getting out of breath, but we were making basically, good time, I guess. And we were walking, and I remember my friend was walking first, I was behind him. Well, not walking, basically scrambling up the mountain. And I remember him climbing, and him saying, "Whoa." And I'm behind him thinking what just happened? And this was the part where I got scared and was considering turning back down, because we were scrambling up the chains. And when he said, "Whoa," I thought what was that? And when I got up, we were basically got up on a very narrow edge. And I am mad at myself that I didn't take my head strap, because I couldn't put my camera on my head. So I didn't film that part because, holding a camera in my hand would have been dangerous. So I didn't get any footage of that, but unfortunately. But basically we got up to a narrow ledge, basically, where it was basically, you were standing on a ledge that this wide, and basically you get up the chains, and there's a massive steep drop behind you and a massive steep drop in front of you. And this was the part where I considered turning back. So we started to walk very slowly this narrow ledge. And another scary part was we had to go around this rock. So basically you're kind of basically have your hand on a rock and you're trying to go past it, but there's a massive drop to the right of you, which was quite scary. But basically, after you get around that rock, there's a couple of basically a couple of steep places and a couple of tiny bit scary places, and then you basically just walk, make a little turn left, and you basically reach the peak. The view from the peak was great, and honestly, we just had some handshakes with some people that were We were basically climbing past each other, some people that we talked to, and basically, yeah, that was the peak. We spent some time on the peak. We climbed down we actually got into Slovakia a bit, and we climbed another peak in Slovakia, basically. So I could say that I climbed 2 peaks, but you know, that's basically nonsense. So what we did not understand is how difficult is gonna be the hike down. This was like, we were like happy, you know, we reached the peak, but we did not consider how difficult it's gonna be going back down. So scrambling down the chains took us a while because there were still a lot of people going up, which we found weird because like we knew that there's not really a lot of sunlight left, but there still was a lot of people going up. So okay, well, we started going down, and when we reached, you know, basically the spot that chains end, when we started to walk back, when we reached those like steep steps, it was like really hard on my knees, which I did not expect. Like my knees, my legs started to give out because those steep steps, like you need a lot of force to like stop yourself, and it was difficult to walk down. Like I remember like going a tiny bit forward, then going down a tiny bit sideways to make it easier on my legs. We got really lucky that we got down those chains because later on it actually started raining. So we reached the top lake, which is really good because from here trail gets much easier. Then for a small amount of time it gets harder, and then it's easy. But as you can see, it's fucking raining, which is awesome because it wasn't hard enough, I guess. Quick break in the video. I started my own clothing brand. There's gonna be a link to my store in the description below. It's a great way to support me, support my channel. So check it out. Maybe you find something you like. Maybe a t-shirt, a hoodie, maybe something else. When we were walking down, me and my friend, we saw a Polish dude fall, which was a nasty fall. It didn't really seem fun. Like, honestly, I think he got hurt. And when we passed those Polish guys, you know, they went out, you know, a tiny bit of the trail to, you know, just rest, I guess. When we were walking and they were walking behind us, my friend fell and he busted his, I think, shoulder and ass quite bad. Like his shoulder didn't look good. You know, a couple of days past that. So honestly, when it started raining, it got really difficult, and I think it got like, we reached that part where it got difficult not only physically but mentally, because it started to get cold, there was no sunlight, it was really difficult for a long time, and I think basically we were on a mental battle, which I did not expect. I expected that it's gonna be difficult. Physically, I did not expect that I might actually, you know, fail mentally. So there was no other option but just to keep on moving. So we slowly made progress. And the messed up thing is we couldn't really get in contact with our third friend because there was no cell service there. And what I did not know is that if you go to the mountains, you need to turn on plane mode, because if you don't, when you get out of service, your phone is going to try to like find the service and connect to it, and it's gonna try constantly, and you can run out of battery, which almost happened to me. Because when we reached like the base camp, basically, you know, the hut that's near the lake, I had like 5% left. So it was really difficult reaching the lake, but we were actually happy because we knew that, oh, you know, we reached the asphalt, it's gonna be smooth sailing. We've reached the asphalt, and now it's just 8 easy K to the car, and then I'm going to sleep immediately. It was the dumbest thing I could have said, because we were so tired and broken that those 7 or 8K or whatever, how long the path is, the road is, you know, it broke us. So right now, as I said, we reached the asphalt road, we're walking, we're making good progress, Now we're laughing, joking around, singing. I believe that both of us are losing our minds. We are so tired. Both of our legs are so messed up and so tired. Like, I'm pretty sure we're both like going insane bit by bit. Like, we started walking. There was a lot of people in front of us, behind us. It started to get dark. And we reached such a level where we just started talking nonsense. And we were basically walking all over the road because, like, we were honestly so tired. And by the end of it, like, we were laughing and joking because, like, we were so tired that I think something snapped on us, in both of us. And yeah, I remember that, like, basically praying that after every corner there was the car park, and it was so, I don't even know what word to use. Basically so heartbreaking when you take a turn and you see that there's more road and the car park is not in sight. It was at that point I remember being heartbroken. Like, I remember saying, like, I'm gonna start going to church if the car park is gonna be behind this corner, and just turning that corner and the car park's not there. Like, it was messed up. So honestly, we reached the car park. We met up with our buddy, and basically, yeah, that was the end of it. We came back to our hostel completely broken. The other day we actually even cut our trip short because we were so broken that we didn't even want to go anywhere else, because I don't know, neither of us could actually walk properly. So all in all, how hard was Mount Rysy? It was actually fucking hard. Like, technically it's not difficult, but physically it's really difficult. And for our first mountain, we overreached by a lot. Like, Like, you know, I work out quite a bit. I like to run, lift weights. You know, I consider myself physically fit, but it was insanely difficult. Like, what other people do is that those 7 or 8K, you know, of that asphalt road, basically, you can jump in a bus or get pulled by a horse in a carriage. So you basically save, you know, 16K, which definitely, you know, would save a lot of energy, but we didn't. So if you're gonna do this, I would recommend jumping on a bus and saving your legs for the hike itself instead of like walking for 7 or 8K, you know, on asphalt. Actually, even though this was like such a difficult thing to do, I already want to go again. And honestly, I've seen videos of people climbing Mount Rysy in winter, and it seems a completely different beast. You know, just trying to find chains in the snow seems insanely difficult and quite dangerous. But honestly, I would like to try it. I'm like trying to find out what other mountain I could go up, because I really would like to do that again, but just in a different place maybe. So yeah, all in all, prepare for Mount Rysy if you're gonna go up there, because it was no joke. But yeah, other than that, next summer I'm already trying to figure out what other mountain I could climb, and hopefully I'm gonna do it. So yeah, other than that, thank you for watching this quick video, and yeah, see you next time.